Good morning, St. Augustine. Your access to the voices of top local newsmakers starts now. Here's your host, Liz Ryan.
Good morning. I'm so glad you tuned in today. I think you're going to learn a lot from this interview. I know I am. My guest this morning is Thomas Lekas, the Parish Council President of the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church of St. Augustine. That's a mouthful. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Liz. How are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me this morning.
It's a great thing to do over coffee this morning.
Absolutely. And there's so much to talk about. I'll try to stuff as much as I can into our short 30-minute conversation. But first, let's find out more about Thomas Lekas. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And how were you drawn to the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church? Or maybe you were born into it.
I was born into it. We call it Cradle Orthodox. We baptize our children as infants and then raise them in the faith to understand what has happened to them and what continues to happen to them throughout their lives. I was actually born right here in St. Augustine, right down the street from the new Flagler buildings on the San Sebastian River. So there used to be a hospital there called the East Coast Railway Hospital, and we were within walking distance of that. And so my first 20 years was right here in St. Augustine.
What was it like growing up in such an historical city?
In those days, St. Augustine was very much an industrial city. It was one of the centers of shrimping and fishing in the United States, and maybe for shrimping even the world. We shipped our products all over the world. And, of course, boat building, and that's why my father was here. He was a boat builder.
So you grew up with the ocean and fishing and boating and sailing and all things related to the ocean. That must have been so good for a child's soul.
A lot of people blame their parents for this, that, and the other thing. My parents gave me a heroic childhood, and I'll always be grateful for that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church. How would you explain the doctrine of your church? And what is it? It's not Catholic, right? It's not a Jewish church. How would you describe it, Thomas?
The Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church is a Christian church. So after Jesus Christ ascended and gave the great mission to his apostles, there was one church, and it was that way for about 1,100 years until the great schism between the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. And that schism was a lot about power and a tiny bit about doctrine. Yeah, you can imagine in a world where you don't have podcasts and the internet, everything happens verbally at first and then with written text, and people were free to say and write what they wanted, and so it fell to the church fathers to make sure that the church doctrine remained true to what Jesus Christ preached. And so a lot of that kept us together for about 1,100 years until it started to be more about power as opposed to doctrine. And that's why the church split back then, and it has not healed since then.
I'm wondering, Thomas, if some people confuse your church with the Jewish church when they hear the word Orthodox, or if maybe they confuse your church with the Catholic Church because icons are such a prominent part of your church.
We do have those confusions that happen because of the word Orthodox. Orthodox, in our context, really means truth. It's the Church of Truth, and as opposed to being a particular focus on a part of our religion, like the Orthodox Jewish, very much focus on living the law. We have the focus on living the faith that was passed down to us from the apostles.
We're going to talk about some really interesting events that the church is hosting coming up in the next few months, and this afternoon as well. But first, a little bit more about your church. Who gives the services at the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church?
Well, let me talk a little bit, if you would, about how we came to be here in St. Augustine. This is the nation's oldest city, and back in the 1700s, there was a group of Greeks that were brought here as laborers to work there for several years to work, and then get their freedom. When their freedom didn't come, they left that. They got the ability from the governor of the territory to leave that indenture, and they came to St. Augustine, and that's really where the first time the Greeks came to this part of the world, keeping in mind that they were under subjugation of the Turkish Empire back home. And it took from the 1700s to the 1950s before there was a church here. And not a church in terms of a building, but we would have a priest come down from Jacksonville and give we call it a liturgy, the work of the people, a service for us one Saturday each month. And moving on down, it was 1976 that we finally purchased a building that we called a church. And it was small, and in about 2005, we purchased our current home, 2940 County Road 214, and that's where our church is today. So our church is led by a priest. Our priest now is named Father Maximus Politis. He's an Athonite monk, meaning that he was on Mount Athos, which is like a separate state of Greece. And he was brought to the United States, and our metropolis assigned him to us, and he's been with us for about 4 years now.
What does the church look like?
It's a white building with a beautiful blue dome over the church, and then we have a hall that attaches to the church that we use for every Sunday. As a matter of fact, we have a coffee hour after our liturgy, and we also use it for events.
What is the significance, Thomas, of icons in your church?
So before there was a printing press and Bibles, people discussed their faith verbally. They also drew pictures. Icons are a pictorial Bible, if you will. They tell the story of our faith, and so we venerate the icons the same way we would venerate the written word, the Bible, because they tell the story of Jesus, and they tell the story of our saints who lived the faith and gave us a path to follow.
And they're so elaborate and intricate, just beautiful. Where do they come from? Were they painted there, or are they imported?
We have iconographers all over the world who do our icons, and you can actually now buy them online. You can get icons from Etsy, for example, but our particular icons were painted by a very prominent iconographer here in America, and he came and he painted our, we call it the Pantocrator, which is the second coming of Christ. That's on the inside of the blue dome. If you go into the church and look up, you'll see Christ as the creator of all. And he painted we called it the Platitera to Urano, which is the width of the world, and it describes the Virgin Mary having given birth to Christ. She contained the universe in her womb, and so they call it the Platitera de Urano. So he painted that. So as you come into our church, you'll see those two prominent icons looking up and looking in.
And it's really, really spectacular. it's just an awesome sight to see. You're listening to Good Morning St. Augustine. I'm your host, Liz Ryan, chatting this morning with Thomas Lekas, the Parish Council President of the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church of St. Augustine. Thomas, what advice would you give to somebody who isn't sure, they don't have a church home, and they want to just see what your church is all about without, being, approached or any kind of pressure to join? They just want to kind of dip their toe in the water.
Well, I'll tell a little story about that from just last Sunday. So I'm one of the chanters in our church, as well as being the parish council president. And so what that means is I give the responses to the priest as he does the liturgy. I lead that for the people. But anyway, after the liturgy was done and we were giving out blessed bread to the congregation, this young man came up to me. He was just visiting. It was his first time in our church. And he said, I wanted to ask you a question about this service and your faith. And he described how he was from a different religion, a Protestant religion, and that he was being drawn to Orthodoxy because of he didn't really believe the teachings he was getting at his other church in terms of how they were changing to fit the world, and he was being drawn to the ancient faith. And he asked about our church, and I talked to him for about 10 minutes and then introduced him to our priest. And in the space of 2 hours, he decided to, 2 hours being the time he spent in the liturgy plus the few minutes that we talked, he decided that this was for him, and he is coming to our catechism class, which is teaching our faith to someone. And so he's starting that this Thursday. So that's how you do it. You come, you listen, you read, and then listen to your heart from what you're understanding.
Could you come to a service and observe and just see what it's all about?
Absolutely.
How about watching the live stream from home instead?
You can watch the live stream from home. We live stream on our Facebook page. And so if you looked up the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church St. Augustine on Facebook, you would see our live stream every Sunday.
Your priests can get married. In fact, I think you told me they're encouraged to have a family. Is that correct?
That's correct. Most of our priests are married. The ones who are monks and decide not to marry generally are the ones that are promoted to bishoprics, largely because of how much focus those elevated positions take. But the parish priests are pretty much all married. Having a monk as our parish priest is an oddity in our faith. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. You can find out more at holytrinitystaugustine.org. holytrinitystaugustine.org. Thomas Lekas, tell me about some exciting events that the church is hosting in the near future. For example, today, what's going on there later today?
Well, today we have what we're calling our Welcome Home event. And a little bit about that. When I first became the parish council president, one of the goals that I set for our church and our parish council was to grow the church. Our children were aging out. Our congregation is aging out as well, and we wanted to bring in new people to worship with us. And so we have been doing that through word of mouth, but we planned this event. As I said, we call it the Welcome Home event for all those who are Christians or want to be Christians, and they want to see what is the ancient faith about. So come to our church. We're having a liturgy at 10 o'clock. Our liturgy is actually divided into two things. It's called an orthos and a liturgy. The orthos starts at 9 o'clock, and that sets the stage for the liturgy. It's the preparation. But if you come anytime between 9 and 11, you'll get part of our liturgical services. And then right after that, we have appetizers, we have Greek pastries. We're having a fun auction of some jewelry items that one of our parishioners is donating from her store in Jacksonville, Julie's Jewelry. So it'll be fun. You get to meet people and learn about our faith.
I'd love to learn more about the faith and more about Greek food. Tell me about the Greek market.
So every Sunday, pretty much every time we have, even if it's not on Sunday, every time we have a liturgy, we open our Greek agora, we call it, which is a Greek market, and it helps us in our promulgate our culture, if you will, to our local people. And it's got items from Greece, food items from Greece. If you want the Greek mountain tea, if you want spanakopita, if you want Greek olive oil from Greece, a host of products, we've got it. If you want items from Greek, about our faith and our bookstore and our Greek gifts, things that we import from Greece to decorate your home, to help you in your faith, like prayer ropes and things like that. We have those as well. So that's all in our little church hall there.
Is that open to the public, or do you have to make an appointment, or is it only for parishioners?
It is open to the public. We have people coming. Our church is open from about 9 to 1 normally on weekdays, and we have people coming in during the time that our administrator is there and picking up items all the time. So it's open.
Oh, I think I'll stop by and pick up some cheese and olives. Yum.
We have it.
You're listening to Good Morning St. Augustine. I'm Liz Ryan, chatting today with the Parish Council President of the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church of St. Augustine, Thomas Lekas. How does the church serve our local community, Thomas?
Well, that's an interesting question. We serve our local community by being a spiritual home for our local Christians. We serve by having our culture in St. Augustine. Every year for the last maybe 30 years, we have our Greek festival where people can come listen to our music, eat Greek food, eat Greek pastries, dance with us. It's a lot of fun, and we're having that Greek festival this year, October 11th and 12th. It's full of not only the Greek culture, but then it's got vendors that come in and sell their stuff as well. It's just a good time to spend 3, 4, 5 hours with us.
Is there a big Greek community here in St. Augustine?
Well, it depends on your definition of big, but we have a Greek community. A good many of the people that are drawn to our church now are converts from other religions. So our Greek community isn't growing as fast as it has in the past because we're not really an industrial city anymore. We're a tourist city, and so we get a lot of visitors to our church, and then we get those who move to this area and find our church welcoming. And let me say one thing about that real quick, too, about finding our church welcoming. Again, when I first became the parish council president, I was looking to see how would we rate our church, and is there a metric to rate our church? And I looked online and I called people at other churches, and I found a metric to rate our church. And one of the things that we rated, or that I rated, was Are we welcoming of people who come into our church, or do they sneak in the back and then sneak out and they don't really see us and talk to us? And that really doesn't happen. We are very welcoming. That's one thing that we do exceptionally well, is welcome our visitors and those who are looking for a church home. They feel like they're walking into a family, and so I'm glad about that. And we will continue to work on being world class at that particular aspect of our community.
Would you feel out of place if you're not Greek?
Not at all. Like I said, a good many of our people who are coming and joining our church now are converts. They're not Greek. We do get a number of Greeks, and that causes a little bit of a tension amongst Greek Orthodox parishes, because we use some Greek language in our liturgy, not a lot anymore. Maybe 10%, if that, in the liturgy portion, and maybe 25% in the orthos, the preparation service, is Greek. The rest of it is all English. But we continually get the tension between those who want more Greek and those who want less Greek, and we do our best to serve both camps.
Maybe a good way to get a taste of your church, figuratively and literally, is by going to the Greek Summer Night. That's coming up, in June?
Absolutely. So Greek Summer Nights is something, we've been doing this for a while. A couple of our parishioners are very good at doing this and setting it up. The Lekos family, not a little different spelling than my name, and they are managing the whole situation there. We have a DJ Taki Andriotis is going to be playing our music. We have a sit-down dinner and then dancing. It's a great time. It's June 7th, I believe, 6 o'clock p.m. is when we open the doors for that, and it goes until probably about 10. So it's a great time. It's $40 a ticket. You can't beat it. My wife and I went out recently for dinner, and we spent about $60 a piece just for a dinner.
Oh, that's easy. Easy to do.
So $40 for a dinner and dancing, I think it's a bargain.
Absolutely. How do you get tickets?
You can go online to our webpage, and it's available right there. And that is, I'm going to have to try to remember.
St Augustine.org, I believe.
Holy Trinity, St Augustine.org. Thank you. You think I know that better, being the parish council president?
Well, it's a mouthful. Again, it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And does that happen at your church hall?
It happens in our church hall right there. We call it Under the Blue Dome. It's not really under the Blue Dome, but it's next to it.
What are some other events that you have on the calendar?
So we talked about our October 11th and 12th Greek festival that's being planned. And the other one that's on the calendar is going to take a little bit of explaining. It's June 26th at 6 p.m. We're hosting the dinner for Greek Landing Day. So there's actually 3 Orthodox organizations here in St. Augustine. One of them is the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church. The other one is the St. Photios Greek Orthodox National Shrine on St. George Street. And the third one is the Orthodox Christian Mission Center. So our shrine was made by originally by our residents here in St. Augustine, our Greek residents. 2 in particular, the Xenitis family, their patriarch Thomas Xenitis and Miss Olga Fotiu learned about the history of the Greeks coming to St. Augustine, and through their efforts, that national shrine was built. And every year we commemorate the Greek diaspora, which came to America, came to St. Augustine, and began the process of bringing their faith, their church, to the United States. And so that is on June 26th at 6 p.m. And it's also a good time to learn and to enjoy our food and our culture.
And here's something fun. You also have a dance ministry.
We have 3 dance ministries. So we have one for our children who are under 11 years old. We have another one for our teenagers. They're the real talent. And then we have one for our adults. And we will be dancing at our Greek festival in October. So that those ministries are in full swing. We just had our first adult Greek dance meeting for this year yesterday. So good stuff.
What do they wear?
We have a whole closet full of costumes that mirror those things that the Greek communities wore early last century. We used to wear those. We may wear those again, but now we generally, men dress in black pants, white shirt with a little Greek hat, and the women wear a colors that we agree upon early in our Greek dance ministry, simply because of the heat in Florida and St. Augustine. It gets very heavy wearing those costumes, but sometimes we wear them.
Our weather can be very limiting. Something that's a little bit more low-key, the coffee hours. What are those all about, Thomas?
Every Sunday after our liturgy, we have a coffee hour. One of our parishioners graciously dedicates their time and a little bit of their treasure to having coffee and some appetizers or light fare for the church to enjoy, as the name says, for about an hour after the liturgy, and we can sit down and break bread together and enjoy our Sunday. And we'll be having one today, actually, about 11:30 it starts.
And again, where is your church, Thomas?
2940 County Road 214. As you go out from St. Augustine on West King Street, that turns into County Road 214. And before you go over the I-95 overpass, we're on your right. You'll see our dome.
All right. And the website is holytrinitystAugustine.org. This half hour flew by. For those who just tuned in, can you just do a quick recap of what's happening today at your church, Thomas?
Recap of today. We're having our Welcome Home event. This is to welcome people who may have come to our church before, to welcome people who are looking for a church home, to come see what we're about and discuss the ancient faith, enjoy some food, and some fun with us.
All right, terrific. And you don't have to be a member of the church to check that out.
You do not.
All right, this half hour just whizzed right by. Thank you for joining me, Thomas Lekas. So what do you think you'll do with the rest of your day after your services and your events wind down here in our ancient city?
I'm sure that I will be pretty tired after chanting for 3 hours and then being in these events until probably 2 o'clock. So I'll probably just maybe go to the beach and get some sun and have a cool drink.
All right. I'll see you in a few hours. Thank you for chatting with me today.
Thank you, Liz.
Remember, all of our programs can be downloaded as a podcast. Go to flaglerbroadcasting.com, click on podcasts, and scroll down to Good Morning St. Augustine. We'll see you back here next week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday in our beautiful, historic, ancient city.